Are you frustrated with social media's take on nutrition and diet advice? I am, and you should be too. One decade, it's low fat. The next low carb, the next no carb. For years, it's low saturated fat. Then for like one day, saturated fat is okay. Then back to low saturated fat because that study was a fraud. Now you see everyone on your newsfeed trying to eat gluten-free. And what's up with GMO foods? Sounds like something from a UFO. And so I've come to the conclusion that this is the safest and healthiest way to eat. If we followed all the advice we heard, we would be eating ice cubes. Maybe you have tried one of the above. Maybe you just don't know what to do, so you do your own thing. Before you catch on to the latest fad diet, let me give you some tips to help you make an informative decision. First, can I let you in on a little secret? It's usually about money. Money? Yes, money. The food industry has an agenda, and it's not always about helping us get healthier. Oh, they say they're trying to meet the recommendations of health and nutrition experts. One full serving of vegetables, or made with whole grains. Except when you look closer, you'll find the same cheap, unhealthy ingredients, like white flour, sugar, with maybe a little bit of those added veggies. Or what about gluten-free? Definitely to those that have celiac disease. But did you know that the prevalence of celiac disease in the United States is 0.71%? That's 1 in 141 people. After reading media sources, you would think that there were plenty more people who must eat gluten-free. So the food industry saw this as a huge opportunity to sell a whole market of gluten-free products. Second, just because the advocate is on TV or selling millions of books doesn't necessarily mean it's healthy or it works. Without saying names, there are some who even have TV shows and then have been in court for health claims that just were not true. Or millions of books have been sold by physicians on their specific weight loss approach that promises dramatic results. These diets typically don't result in long-term weight loss, and they are usually not very healthy. They're popular because many of them do work for a short amount of time. In many cases, this is because when you stop eating certain types of food or eat special combinations of foods, you are getting fewer calories than you normally would, which ultimately results in weight loss. However, most of the weight you lose initially is from water, not body fat. Also, most people are not able to keep up with the demands of a diet that strictly limits their food choices or requires them to eat the same foods over and over again. People who use fad diets usually end up gaining back any weight that they initially lost. Why? Because it's just not realistic. Third, what works for one person does not necessarily work for everyone. Research is trying to find cures and solutions to diseases and illnesses. And it would be so much easier for doctors, and yes, even dietitians like myself, to take groups of people and then say, we all should be doing this or eating that. For instance, I have an autoimmune disease, Crohn's disease, and I eat gluten every day. It has no negative impact on my disease. However, I have heard personal stories of people with an autoimmune disease that had a positive impact on their health when they did take gluten out of their diet. So do we say that all people with autoimmune disease decline gluten? No. What works for me may not work for you. So when you see that one approach is working for someone else, don't automatically assume it's the solution and going to work for you. Last thing to keep in mind, the wages of sin is death. Sin has corrupted creation. Our food comes from the ground, or trees and plants from the ground, and from animals. The ground is cursed according to Genesis 3 because sin entered the world. From your own backyard or a genetically modified lab, it's corrupted. We're all going to die if you haven't figured that out yet. The reason is because of sin. Sin is what has separated us from God, and we are damned to hell because of it. Only God has the cure, and that's eternal life through Jesus Christ, his Son, who died so that we can be made well, who suffered physically so that he can wipe away all our tears and suffering, who rose again the third day so that someday we can rise out of these dying bodies to glorified bodies. Let me give you hope. First, don't get sucked into what you should and should not eat from media. Yes, there are valid nutritional recommendations to follow for most individuals, like the Dietary Guidelines for Americans and Choose MyPlate. If you have a specific disease or illness, find a registered dietitian nutritionist like myself. We are the nutrition experts and are here to help you find what works and what doesn't to fit your needs. Eat everything in moderation. Yes, we are going to die someday, but don't use that as an excuse to do what you want. And most importantly, the only hope we truly have is through Jesus Christ and His healing touch on our souls. Are you spiritually healthy? Do you have eternal life through Him? If not, ask me how you can be spiritually cured of sin below in the comments. Did you like what you have seen? Please like, share, and subscribe. For more information on the topics and research in this episode, check out the links provided in the description of this video.